probably going through like a manic episode or something. I don't know. But let's read before we sleep, I suppose. And if you feel like listening to it, like, or you want to buy this book, if you wanted a little sample, I'm sure the PDF is online, but I'm not saying bootleg anything, so I'm just gonna try to read some of this. So on page 94, I got this from Goodwill, and there's 258 fucking pages. Okay, this is my bookmark I got from Oprah magazine. This is the front of the book. This is the back of the book. I don't know if that's gonna even be back. Anyways, in a hotel, why can't you use the house phone to phone your house? I'm bringing out my own line of colognes. You've heard of eternity, obsession, and passion. Mine is stench. I'm offering, oh yeah, fair use. I'm offering a choice of 5 fragrances: bait shop, animal waste, landfill, human remains, and chemical toilet. Damn. When I was a kid, I used to think it was all the same clouds that kept coming by. Something is dreadfully wrong in this country. There's now an empty breast. Oh no, an empathy breast. It is a wrapped around vest that has a pocket for placing the baby's bottle in. The new father wears it while nursing the baby. Jesus. Sometimes on a rainy day, I sit around and read the losers out of my address book. They say on the news that tests on monkeys showed HIV can be transmitted through oral sex. What I want to know is, who had to blow the monkeys? The other night I ate at a real nice family restaurant. Every table had an argument going. I don't live in the fast lane, but have you ever seen one of those cars parked on the median with its hood up? Wow. Just think, right now all over the world, there are people exercising bad judgment. Somebody right this minute is probably making the mistake of his life. That's a fact. Pour confetti. Its useful life lasts about 2 seconds, and it can never be used again. Human beings are kind of interesting from birth until they reach the age of a year and a half. Then they're boring until they reach 50. By that time, they're either completely defeated and fucked up, which makes them interesting again, or they learn how to beat the game, and that makes them interesting too. Think off-center. The older I get, the more certain I am that I will not have to spend the rest of my life in prison. Assisted suicide is controversial. There are moral, medical, legal, and ethical arguments, but the truth of it is, a lot of people just want to get the fuck out of here. That's true. What exactly do you do when the Dalai Lama appears on Nightline and you're not satisfied with his answers? When I see a picture of a group of people in a newspaper, I always wonder how many of them had really depraved sex since the picture was taken. Damn. A small town is any place too poor to have its own insane asylum. Texas canceled plans to put in Texas canceled plans to put its motto, friendship, on its license plate. People complained that it was too wimpy. Why don't they just change their motto? Let's kill all the niggas. Comes to mind as appropriate. In Vienna, they recently had an opera riot. Never get on an airplane if the pilot is wearing a hat that has more than 3 pastel colors. Why is it when you buy 5 shirts, there's always one you never wear? To minimize this problem, when I shop for shirts, I always put one back just before I pay. My family and I are doing our bit for the environment. We volunteer family and I are doing our bit for the environment. We volunteered to have 60 metric tons of human waste stored in our home. Cancer causes heart disease. Shopping and buying and getting and having compromised the great American addiction. Oh, shopping and buying and getting and having compromised the great American addiction. No one is immune. When the underclass riots in this country, they don't kill policemen and politicians. They steal merchandise. How embarrassing. I know that's right. I like George Carlin's view on anarchy. I made a bargain with the devil. Oh, wait, capitalism. I would get to be famous and he would get to F my sister. Granola bars didn't sell very well when they were good for you. Now they have caramel, chocolate, marshmallow, saturated fat, and sweeteners, and a small amount of oats in the wheat. Sales picked up. You know you're in trouble when you look behind the clerk and see one of your personal checks displayed on the wall as an example of why the store does not accept personal checks. As grown-ups, we never get to wave bye-bye. I think it would be fun. Steve the boss is sailing for Europe. We're all going down to the dock to wave bye-bye. Some things a king never has to say. Can I play to you? Hey guys, wait for me. I never seem to get laid. What's up with all the stomping? It's driving me crazy. Did you ever go somewhere and realize it used to be a different place and it dawns on you that some things are not here anymore? Of course, some other things are not here yet, and nothing seems to be where it used to be. Everything's been moved. Sometimes I think if we could just put everything back to where it originally was, we might be alright. I was surprised when I started getting old. I always thought it was one of those things that would happen to someone else. Damn. Aluminum is a jive metal. You know you're in a poor neighborhood when you give the store clerk $1 and he asks you if you have anything smaller. Damn. Since childhood is a time of when kids prepare to be grown-ups, I think it makes a lot of sense to completely traumatize your children. Gets them ready for the real world. With all that humping going on, JFK's administration shouldn't have been called Camelot. It should have been called Camelot. There's a new British rock band called So Long Mate. During each performance, one member of the band is ritually slaughtered. Damn. The music has a certain urgency, but the tours are nice and short, about 5 days. When the Convention of Testicle Transplant Surgeons had its annual softball game, they asked me to throw out the first ball. You know what would be fun? Drop acid, smoke PCP. Oh, I thought that was fun. And then take the White House tour with Jim Carrey. That sounds scary. I don't believe that there's any problem in this country, no matter how tough it is, that Americans, when they roll up their sleeves, can't completely ignore. Sometimes the firemen will go to great strenuous lengths to save a raccoon that's stuck in a drain pipe and then go out on the weekend and kill several of them for amusement. They debated the NAFTA trade bill for a long time. Should we sign it or not? Either way, the people get fucked. Trade always exists for the traders. Anytime you hear businessmen debating which policy is better for America, don't bend over. I always wonder what would happen if George Carlin became like a politician. And I wonder if Bill Hicks ever wrote a book. Property is theft. Nobody owns anything. when you die, it stays here. I read about these billionaires. Sam Walton, 20 billion. Daniel Ludwig, 15 billion. They're both dead. They're gone, and the money is still here. It wasn't their money to begin with. Property is theft. If you want to keep your dog in line, walking past the fur shop a couple times a week. There are only two places in the world, over here and over there. Milk chocolate is for schmucks. I have a photograph of George Burke. What? I have a photograph of Judge Burke, but it doesn't do him justice. Have you ever wondered why Republicans are so interested in encouraging people to volunteer for their communities? It's because volunteers work for no pay. Republicans have been trying to get people to work for no pay for a long time. I finally accepted Jesus, not as my personal savior, but a man I intend to borrow money from. It used to be cars had cool names: Dart, Hawk, Fury, Cougar, Firebird, Hornet, Mustang, Barracuda, Rocket 88. Now we have the Elantra, Altima, Acura, Lumina, Sentra, Corolla, Maxima, Tucson. What the fuck kind of lifeless pussy names are these? Further proof America has lost its edge. I'm starting a campaign to have Finland removed as a country. We don't need it. Yeah. What a spot. You're in surgery, the anesthetic wears off, and as soon as you wake up, you realize someone in surgical clothing is carrying one of your legs over to a garbage can. The surgeon holding a large power saw says, "We're all out of anesthetic, but if you hold on real tight to the side of that gurney, I'll have that other leg off in a jiffy." You rarely read up. Oh, we're on page 100 now. Quick break. My hands itch. I got that Beyond Belief Factor 15 stuff in my head. Oh my gosh. I can't even. Like, I don't even know what the hell is going on. I need some lotion stat. I'm just so lazy. Oh, and I need some chapstick. Hold on. Easy. Easy. Oh, I ain't got the hiccups now. What? Oh, beyond belief. Factor fiction. Getting sleepy. I would like that. Back to reading. We're gonna finish this book. Because it's better than me scrolling the internet. And I have too many books. Alright. We're on page 100. You rarely meet a wino with a perfect pitch. Although the photographer and the art thief were close friends, neither had ever taken the other's picture. Traditional American values: genocide, aggression, conformity, emotional repression, hypocrisy, and the worship and comfort of consumer goods. I read that Domino's Pizza's trucks have killed more than 20 people, and that's not counting the ones who eat the pizza. Damn. I like it when a flower or a little tuft of grass grows through the crack in the concrete. It's so fucking heroic. Honestly, like, in front of my house, like on the porch part, like there's like some grass that's grown like between the brick and like dandelions and shit, and I just wanted to keep it. And some of those dandelions are the weeds that they call them, like they're really pretty to me. A group of cult people has emerged who not only believe Elvis Presley is alive, but have decided that if they find him, they will kill him and skin him. Damn. There are 10,000 people in the United States in a persistent vegetative state, just enough to start a small town. Think of them as veggie burgers. Okay. Apparently, the Hells Angels are suing a movie producer because they said his film shows disrespect for the Hells Angels. Okay. Apparently, the Hells Angels are suing a movie producer because they said his film shows disrespect for the Hells Angels. Simon Says, go fuck yourself. Something is dreadfully wrong in this country. There is actually an organization called Wrestlers Against Drugs, and on TV there is now a Christian weightlifting tour. I once read that in Lebanon, a peacekeeping force was attacked by a religious militia. They deserve each other. Ross Perot, what a nation of idiots need. A short, loud idiot. I don't even know who Ross Perot is. When you visualize the recent past, do you see it being somewhere over on the left? Yes. Now the brainless new age spiritual zombies are using bulldozers to vandalize the Ouachita National Forest in Arkansas in search of crystals. Nothing like that being in harmony with nature shit. In some places, a 17-year-old girl needs a note for being absent from school, but she does not need one to get an abortion. There's a moment coming. It's not here yet. It's still on the way. It's in the future. It hasn't arrived. Here it comes. Here it is. Shit. It's gone. A sure way to cure hiccups is to jam your fist down the affected person's throat and quickly open and close your hand several times. It relaxes the vagus nerve. Something is dreadfully wrong in this country. In November 1990, Gallup poll of 1,108 Americans, 78% said they believed there was a place where people who had led good lives are eternally rewarded, and 60% believed that there was a place where those who led bad lives and died without repentance were eternally damned. I find this profoundly disturbing. The hell? What the hell kind of numbers is that? I always order the international breakfast. French toast, English muffin, Belgian waffle, Spanish omelet, Danish pastry, Swedish pancakes, Canadian bacon, and Irish coffee. I like Irish coffee. There are ghosts in my sinuses. What is regarding local residents attempting to ban sex shops from their neighborhoods? You show me a parent who says he's worried about his child's innocence, and I'll show you a homeowner trying to maintain equity. Wow. I thought it would be nice to get a job at a duty-free shop, but it doesn't sound like there's a whole lot to do in a place like that. There's an odd feeling you get when someone on the sidewalk moves slightly to avoid walking into you. It proves you exist. Your mere existence causes them to alter their path. It's a nice feeling. After you die, no one has to get out of your way anymore. Some people keep walking. Instead of school busing and prayer in schools, which are both controversial, why not a joint solution? Prayer and buses. Just drive these kids around all day and let them pray their fucking empty little heads off. Lorena Bobbitt only did what men do to each other all the time. She showed an asshole she meant business. Americans are fucked. They've been bought off and they came real cheap. A few million dirt bikes, camcorders, microwaves, cordless phones, digital watches, answering machines, jet skis, and sneakers with lights in them. You say you want a few items back from the Bill of Rights? Just promise the doofus's new gizmos. I love it in a movie when they throw a guy off a cliff, even when it's not a movie. No, especially when it's not a movie. Damn. Owing to a basic programming flaw. Oh, I guess the last person who owned the book stopped reading here. It's folded. I never fold my books. Owing to a basic programming flaw, many computer calculations, including mortgages and pensions, will be thrown off by the arrival of the year 2000. Damn. That's 22 years ago. It's because many computer programs use only the last two digits for calculating years. It will cost between $50 and $100 billion to correct this mistake. I'm glad. I like anything that causes trouble. Men don't show emotion except rage because it takes strength to show soft emotions. Most men don't have that kind of strength. They keep things inside, then they kill someone. That first one we read about the computer calculations, that's Y2K. Why was it such a big deal? Wasn't it gonna restart anyway? Regarding Mount Rushmore, the Black Hills are sacred Indian ground. Imagine the creepy feeling of four leering European faces staring at your ancestors for eternity. Who are all these people whose eyeglasses are attached to straps and bands around their neck? Please, folks. Too precious. Hold your glasses or set them down like the rest of us. Or perhaps, strange as it sounds, put them on. You need a dual correction? Get some bifocals. Houses and homes. Housework slash homework. Houseboy slash homeboy. Housebreaker slash homewrecker. Housekeeper slash homemaker. That thing you live in, is it a house or is it a home? Developers sell homes, but people buy houses. Wow. But shouldn't it be developers sell houses, but people buy homes? Most people don't mind if you put them in a house. But under no circumstances do you want them to put them in a home unless it's a happy home. A happy home is not the same as a happy house. A happy house is one that's just been cleaned and painted. You'd be happy too. The Madame Polly Adler once said, a house is not a home. Of course she meant a whorehouse is not a home. And it's not. No one would ever want to go to a whore home. Except a really old whore. That's where they go. The old whore's home. Wow. Opposite, same opposite. We're on page 104. Sometimes the same words mean opposite things. Sometimes the opposite is true. Shock absorbers are called shocks. Slow down and slow up are interchangeable. Bad taste is tasteless. Sports fans say turf when they mean artificial turf. Something invaluable is very valuable. I'll bet you could care less. Or maybe you couldn't care less. Same difference. By the way, is it from here on in or from here on out? I need some chapstick. I'm starting to get tired now. Inside out talk. Here's something pretty stupid. You inflict these phrases the same way as the originals. It's inside out talk. Tell your pals. Pulsable celery. The Arianese Separation Limby. Foot Day Night One Ball. Oh. Days don't please the eatsy. A nautical tech out. The new Bork Yocker Knickers. Beach the Comb Danner. Stillstoner Balest. Cronker Wool Tight. And Ungenen of Washerversity. I ain't reading all that. I'm skipping page 105. What's my motivation? What's all this stuff about motivation? I say, if you need motivation, you probably need more than motivation. You probably need chemical intervention or brain surgery. Actually, if you ask me, this country could do with a little less motivation. The people who are causing all the trouble seem highly motivated to me. Serial killers, stock swindlers, drug dealers, Christian Republicans. I'm not sure motivation is always a good thing. You show me a lazy prick who's lying in bed all day watching TV and only occasionally getting up to piss, and I'll show you a guy who's not causing any trouble. The George Carlin Book Club. We've got books out the ass. Offer number 2. Advice and self-help titles. Where to go for a free fuck. Eat, run, stay fit, and die anyway. You give me 6 weeks and I'll give you some bad disease. Why? Why you should never mambo with a politician. The stains in your shorts can indicate your future. Earn big money by sitting in your car trunk. Where to take a short woman. I gave up hope and it worked just fine. Why you should never yodel during an electrical storm. Fill your life with croutons. 6 ways to screw up before breakfast. I suck, you suck. Reorganizing your pockets. Where to hide a really big snot. Ugh. Why you must never give yourself a neck operation. The wrong underwear can kill. Now you can cure cancer by simply washing up. Lightweight summer ensembles to wear on the toilet. Why no one should be allowed out anymore. A complete list of people who are not making progress. Where to throw up secretly. That was funny. 10 things no one can handle at all. Why you should not sit for more than 6 weeks in your own film. The new zodiac. We need new zodiac signs. We're on page 107. The old ones depict an obsolete world. The archer, the water bearer, and the talk about obsolete, the virgin. What we need are modern zodiac signs that represents today's reality. The serial rapist, the lone gunman, the suicide bomber, the paranoid schizophrenic, the transsexual crackhead, the money launderer, the disgruntled postal worker, the diseased homeless veteran, the South American drug lord, the third generation welfare the third generation welfare recipient, the human immunodeficiency virus, and the personal trainer. In case you're one of those people who does not relate well to the real world, here's a nice safe zodiac for you. The soccer mom, the sensitive male, the special needs child, the role model, the overachiever, the jogger, the little leaguer, the recycler, the anchor person, the codependent, the Domino's delivery boy, and the recovering shopaholic. That one's pretty good. Give a hoot. I don't give a hoot, not since 1959. That was the last one I gave. Wait, I think I gave a hoot in 1967, just one, as a favor to a friend. But that was it. I'm not even sure if I have any left. Frankly, I'd be afraid to look, but I'm all out of hoots. If you want one, you're going to have to find it on your own. Maybe you can rent a hoot or steal one. I bet by now there's a black market in hoots, hot hoots. By the way, in addition to those who don't give a hoot, there are many others who will not take a hoot, too proud. These are the same people who will not take any guff, but they may give you some lip. Bring the body closer. I often hear otherwise intelligent people complaining about drivers who slow down when driving past a traffic accident. They curse them and call them rubberneckers. I don't understand this at all. I'm in never too big of a hurry that I can't stop and watch someone else's suffering. The bigger the accident, the better. As far as I'm concerned, I want to see some guys whose neck is a part of his gas tank. And if I can't see enough from my particular vantage point, I'll ask the policeman to bring the bodies over a little closer to my car. Say, officer, can you bring that twisted chap over here a little closer? I've never seen a man shaped quite like that. That's why the police are here, to protect, to serve, and to bring the bodies a little closer to your car. Past tense TV. I have a cable channel that shows old TV shows, but it shows them in different tenses from the originals. I don't know how they do it. Here's a sample. Got smart.
Father knew best. It was best. Oh no, it was left to Beaver. Daddy had room made for him. I shall have been loving Lucy. What? I shall have been loving Lucy. Car 54. Where were you? Had gone. Would have traveled. What had my line been? I have had a secret. That had been the week that had been. Anything but the present. America has no now. We're reluctant to acknowledge we're reluctant to acknowledge the present. It's too embarrassing. Instead, we reach into the past. Our culture is composed of sequels, reruns, remakes, revivals, reissues, re-releases, recreations, reenactment, adaptations, anniversaries, memorabilia, oldies radio, and nostalgia record collections. World War II has been refought on television so many times the German and the Japanese are now drawing residuals. Ah, I can't believe he's reading it. He wrote this. When did this book come out? It gotta be the 90s. 1997. So damn, they were talking about Y2K back then. I thought that just was like a last minute thing, like, hey yo. Of course, being essentially full of shit, we sometimes feel the need to dress up this past preoccupation as with as with pathetic references to reruns as encore presentations. Even instant replay is a form of token nostalgia, a brief visit to the immediate past for re-examination, before slapping it onto a highlight video for further review and re-review onto the indefinite future. Our yestermania includes fantasy football camps, where aging sad sacks pay money to catch baseballs thrown by men who were once their heroes. It's a part of the fascination with sports memorabilia, a memory industry so lucrative it has attracted counterfeiters. In this the age of hyphens, we are truly retro hyphen Americans, and our television newscasts are not only reflect this condition, they feed it. Everything they report is twisted into some reference to the past. If there is to be a summit meeting, you'll be told about all the last 6 summits. If there's a big earthquake, they'll do a story about big earthquakes of the past. I know that's right. If there's a mine disaster, you will hear about every mine disaster since the inception of mining. They're obsessed with looking back. I swear I actually heard this during a commercial. I actually heard this during a newscast as the anchorman went to a commercial break. He said, look ahead. He said, still ahead, a look back. Honest. A look back, Hurricane Hugo 1 year later. Why? The anniversary of the Exxon Valdez oil spill. For what reason? The anniversary of the Bay of Pigs, Pan Am Flight 103, the hostages in Iran, the fall of the Berlin Wall, VJ Day, VE Day, Vietnam, who gives a fuck? Bugs Bunny's 50th birthday, Lassie's 55th, the Golden Jubilee of Gone with the Wind, the start of the Korean War, Barbie celebrates her 35th, the 25th anniversary of the New York blackout, Bambi turns 50. Shit, I didn't even like Bambi when I was supposed to. How much do I care now? There's no harm reviewing the past from time to time, knowing that where you've been is part of knowing where you are, and all that happy horse shit. But the American media have an absolute fixation on this. They rob us of the present by insisting on the past. If they were able, I'm sure they would pay equal attention to the future. Trouble is, they don't have any film on it. And so, on television news, there is oddly very little emphasis on the present. On today's actual news, the present only exists in 30-second stories built around 8-second sound bites. Remember, sound bite is their phrase. That's what they give you. Just a bite. No chewing, no digestion, no nourishment. Malnutrition. We're on page 112. Another way they avoid. Oh. I need something. Another way they avoid the present moment is to look ahead on their own schedules. The television news industry seems to revolve around what's coming next. Still to come, just ahead, up next, coming up this half hour. More to come, stay with us, still ahead. Also, later, they even preview what's going to happen as little as 1 hour later. During the 5 o'clock news, the empty headed prick who does the 5 o'clock news will suddenly say, "Here's a look at what's coming up on the 6 o'clock news." And then the empty headed prick who does the 6 o'clock news will appear in shirt sleeves in the newsroom to create the illusion of actual work. And tell you about several stories that the empty headed prick who does the 5 o'clock news show already told you about if he was really a newsman. And so it goes around the clock. On the 5 o'clock news, they tell you about the 6 o'clock news. At 6 o'clock, they tell you about the 11. At 11, they plug the morning news. The morning man promos the noontime lady. And sure enough, a little after noon, here comes the empty-headed prick from the 5 o'clock news to tell you what he's going to do. On the 5 o'clock news, if if a guy were paranoid, he might not be blamed for thinking that the people who run things don't want you doing too much on the present. Because keep in mind, the news media are not independent. They're sort of a bulletin board and public relations firm for the ruling class, the people who run things. Those who decide what news you will not hear are paid by and tolerated purely at the whim of those who hold economic power. If the parent corporation does not want you to know something, it will not be on the news, period. Or at the very least, it will be slanted to suit them and barely followed up. Enjoy your snooze. That's deep hell. I know I need some chapstick. Hold on. Chapstick.
Oh my God. I got Vaseline. I want a chimichanga.
Back to the book. Some favorite oxymorons. Assistant supervisor, new tradition, original copy. Can y'all even see that I'm reading the book? Plastic glass. Highly depressed. Live recording. Authentic reproduction. Partial ceasefire. Limited lifetime guarantee. I know, right? Excuse me. Elevated subway. Dry lake. True replica. Forward lateral. Standard options. If I were in charge of the networks, I'm tired of television announcers, hosts, newscasters, and what do you say? Commenters, commentators. Shit, how do I? It's stop. I'm sleepy. Nibbling away at the English language, making obvious and ignorant mistakes. If I were in charge of America's broadcast stations and networks, I would gather together all the people whose jobs include speaking to the public, and I would not let them out of the room until they have absorbed the following suggestions. And I'm aware that media personalities are not selected on the basis of intelligence. I know that, and I still try to make allowances for it. Believe me, I really try, but still. There are some liberties taken with speech that I think will require intervention, if only for my own sake. I won't feel right if this chance goes by and I keep my silence. The English word for fort or forte, meaning specialty or strong point, is not pronounced forte. Got it? It's pronounced fort. Oh, the Italian word fort used in music notation is pronounced forte and instructs the musician to play loud. She plays the skin flute, her fort is playing forte. Look it up and don't give me that whiny shit. Forte is listed as the second preference. There's a reason it's second because it's not first. Irony deals with opposites. It has nothing to do with coincidence. If two baseball players from the same hometown on different teams receive the same uniform number, it is not ironic. It is a coincidence. If Barry Bonds attains lifetime statistics identical to his father's, it will not be ironic. It will be a coincidence. Irony is a state of affairs that is the reverse of what was to be expected. A result opposite to and in the mockery of the of the appropriate result. For instance, if a diabetic on his way to buy insulin is killed by a runaway truck, he is the victim of an accident. If the truck was delivering sugar, he is the victim of an oddly poetic coincidence. But if the truck was delivering insulin, then he is a victim of an irony. If occurred after surviving a bloody battle with Saddam Hussein's army and a long, difficult escape through the mountains, is crushed and killed by a parachute drop of humanitarian aid, that, my friend, is irony writ large. Darryl Stingley, the pro football player, was paralyzed after a brutal hit by Jack Tatum. Now Darryl Stingley's son plays football, and if the son should become paralyzed while playing, it will not be ironic. It will be coincidental. If Darryl Stingley's son paralyzes someone else, that would be closer to ironic. If he paralyzes Jack Tatum's son, that would be precisely ironic. I'm tired of hearing prodigal being used to mean wandering, given to running away, or leaving and returning. The parable in the book of Luke tells of a son who squanders his father's money. Prodigal means recklessly wasteful or extravagant. If you say popular usage has changed that, I say F popular usage. I thought prodigal means like prodigy. The phrase sour grapes does not refer to jealousy or envy, nor is it related to being a sore loser. It deals with the rationalization of failure to attain a desired end. In the original fable by Aesop, The Fox and the Grapes, When the fox realizes he cannot leap high enough to reach the grapes, he rationalized that even if he had gotten them, they would probably been have sour. They would probably have been sour anyway. Rationalization. That's all sour grapes means. It doesn't deal with jealousy or sore losing. Yeah, I know you say, well, many people are using it that way, so the meaning is changing. And I say, well, many people are really stupid too. Should we adopt all their standards? Hmm. Strictly speaking, celibate does not mean not having sex. It means not being married. No wedding. The practice of refraining from sex is called chastity or sexual abstinence. No fucking. Priests don't take a vow of celibacy. They take a vow of chastity, sometimes referred as the no nookie clause. Oh, I'm reading Brain Droppings by George Carlin. I'm on page 117. There are 258 pages. I'm just trying to read till I go to sleep. What you doing? And speaking of sex, the Immaculate Conception does not mean Jesus was conceived in the absence of sex. It means Mary was conceived without original sin. That's all it has ever meant. And according to the tabloids, Mary is apparently the only one who could make such a claim. The Jesus thing is called virgin birth. What? That flew over my head. Proverbial is now being used to describe things that don't appear in Proverbs. For instance, the proverbial drop in the bucket is incorrect because a drop in the bucket is not a proverb, it's a metaphor. You wouldn't say as welcome as a turd in the proverbial punch bowl or as cold as the proverbial nun's box because neither refers to a proverb. The former is a metaphor, the latter is a simile. Momentarily means for a moment, not in a moment. The word for in a moment is presently. I will be there presently, Dad, and then after pausing momentarily, I will kick you in the nuts. No other option and no other alternative are redundant. The words option and alternative already imply otherness. Whew, I had no option, Mom. I got this huge erection because there was no alternative. The rule is not optional. The alternative is to be wrong. You should not use criteria when you mean criterion for the same reason you should not use criterion when you mean criteria. These is my only criterions. What? A light year is a measurement of distance, not time. It will take light years for a young basketball player to catch up with the number of women Wilt Chamberlain has fucked. It's a scientific impossibility, probably in more ways than one. An acronym is not just any set of initials. It applies only to those that are pronounced as words. MAD, DARE, NATO, and UNICEF are acronyms. FBI, CIA, and KGB are not. They're just pricks. I know I'm fighting a losing battle with this one, but I refuse to surrender. Collapsing a building with explosives is not an implosion. An implosion is a very specific scientific phenomenon. The collapsing of a building with explosives is the collapsing of a building with explosives. The explosives explode and the building collapses inwardly. That is not implosion. It is an inward collapsing of a building following a series of smaller explosions designed to make it collapse inwardly. Period. Fuck you. I feel like this book could come out right now. Here's another pointless, thankless objection I'd like to register. I say it that way because I know you people in their goddamn popular usage slammed the door on this one a long time ago, but here it goes anyway.
A cop-out is not an excuse, not even a weak one. It is an admission of guilt. When someone cops a plea, he admits to guilt to some charge in exchange for better treatment. He has copped out. When a guy says I didn't get to fuck her because I reminded her of her little brother, he's making an excuse. But if he says I didn't get to fuck her because I'm an unattractive schmuck, he's copping out. The trouble arises when an excuse contains a small amount of self-incriminating truth. This one is directed to the sports people. You are destroying a perfectly good figure of speech. Getting the monkey off one's back does not mean breaking a losing streak. It only refers to ending a dependency, that's all. The monkey represents a strong yin. A losing streak does not compare even remotely, not in a literal sense and not in real life. Here's one you hear from the truly dense. The proof is in the pudding. Well, the proof is not in the pudding. The rice and the raisins are in the pudding. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. In this case, proof means test. The same is true of the exception that proves tests are the rule. Page 120. You have 138 pages to go. An eye for an eye is not a call for revenge. It's an argument for fairness. In the time of the Bible, it was standard to take a life in exchange for an eye. But the Bible said, no, the punishment should fit the crime. Only eye for an eye, nothing more. It's not vindictive, it's mitigatory. Don't make the same mistake twice seems to indicate 3 mistakes, doesn't it? First you make the mistake, then you make the same mistake, then you make the same mistake twice. If you simply say don't make the same mistake, you'll avoid the first mistake. Unique needs no modifier. Very unique, quite unique, more unique, really unique, fairly unique, and extremely unique are wrong, and they mark you as dumb, although certainly not unique. Oh, it's cold. Jeez. Healthy does not mean healthful. Healthy is a condition. Healthful is a property. Vegetables aren't healthy. They're dead. No food is healthy unless you have an eggplant that's doing push-ups. Push-ups are healthful. I feel like I'm getting colder. There is no such thing or word as kudo. Kudo is a singular noun meaning praise, and it's pronounced kudos. There's also a plural form spelt the same but pronounced kudos. Please stop telling me so-and-so picked up another kudo today. Race, creed, or color is wrong. Race and color as used Race and color as used in this phrase describe the same property, and creed is a stilted, outmoded way of saying religion. Leave this tired phrase alone. It has lost its usefulness. Besides, it reeks of insincerity, no matter who uses it. As of yet, it's simply stupid. As yet, I've seen no progress on this one, but of course I'm speaking as of now. Here's one you can win money on in the bar if you're within reach of the right reference book. Chomping at the bit and old stomping ground are incorrect. Some Saturday afternoon when you're getting bombed on your old stamping ground, you'll be champing at the bit to use this one. Sorry to sound picky, folks, but I listen to a lot of radio and TV, and these things have bothered me for a long time. Viewers beware, page 121. Television newscasters often warn viewers that something they're going to show might upset people. Be warned that this next film clip is very graphic and contains explicit language, so you might want to consider if you want to see it or if it's suitable for your children. Imagine explicit and graphic. Here are the definition of those according to Webster's Third New International Dictionary. Explicit, characterized by full, clear expression, being without vagueness or ambiguity. Graphic, marked by clear and lively description or striking imaginative power. Sharply outlined or delineated. So what's the problem here? Why do they feel it's necessary to warn people against the possibility of seeing something clear, sharply outlined, unambiguous, and with striking imaginative power? The pre-epidemic. Pre-board, pre-screen, pre-record, pre-tape, pre-existing, pre-order, preheat, pre-plan, pre-test, pre-condition, pre-register. In nearly all of these cases, you can drop the pre and not change the meaning of the word. The suicide film was not pre-screened by the school. No, of course not. It was screened. You can call and pre-qualify for a loan over the phone. Your loan is pre-approved. Well, if my loan is approved before I call, then no approval is necessary. The loan is simply available. Name it like it is. The words fire department make it sound like they're the ones who are starting the fires, doesn't it? It should be called the extinguishing department. We don't call the police the crime department. Also, the bomb squad sounds like a terrorist gang. The same is true of wrinkle cream. Doesn't it sound like it causes wrinkles? And why would a doctor prescribe pain pills? I already have pain, I need relief pills. More favorite oxymorons. Mandatory options. Mutual differences. Non-dairy creamer. Open secret. Resident alien. Silent alarm. Sports sedan. Wireless cable. Mercy killing. Lethal assistance. Contra aid. Business ethics. Friendly fire. Genuine veneer. Full-time daycare. Death benefits. Holy war. Super celeb kicks bucket. I dread the deaths of certain super celebrities. Not because I care about them, because all the shit I have to endure on television when one of them dies. All those tributes and retrospectives. And the bigger the personality, the worse it is. For example, imagine all the crap we'll have to endure on TV when Bob Hope dies. First they'll show clips from him from all his old road movies with Bing Crosby, and then you can bet some news anchor asshole will turn the pile of clothing next to him and say, well, Tammy, I imagine Bob's on the road to heaven right now. Then there'll be clips of all those funny costumes he wore on TV specials, including the hippie sketch. Well, they'll show him saying, far out, man, far out. They'll show him golfing with dead presidents, kissing blonde bombshells, and entertaining troops in every war since we beat the shit out of the Peloponnesians. And at some point, a 70-year-old veteran will choke up and say, I just miss seeing him at Iwo because I had got my legs blown off. He's quite a guy. Ex-presidents, including the dead ones, will line up four abreast to tell us what a great American he was. Show business perennials. What? Show business perennials with desert golf courses from Palm Springs to Old Days Lawn to lament sadly as how this time Bob hooked one into the woods, and regarding his talent, a short comedian in a checkered hat will speak reverently about Hope's incredible timing. And all this stuff will be on every single newscast, day and night for a week. There will be a special 1 hour salute on Good Morning America, The Today Show, and CBS This Morning. Ted Koppel will ask Henry Kissinger if Bob Hope actually shortened some of our wars by telling jokes close to the front lines. CNN will do an expanded showbiz today. One of the cable channels will do a 1 week marathon of his movies. It goes without saying that NBC Wait, what? It goes without saying that NBC will put together a 3 hour primetime special called Thanks for the Memories. But at the last minute, they'll realize Bob Hope's audience skews older and sell it to CBS. Then there will be the funeral carried live on the Dead Celebrity channel with thousands of grotesque, acne-ridden fans seeking autographs from all the show business clowns who dug out their best black golfing outfits to attend one of the hottest burials to hit this town in decades. Variety. And all this shit will go on for weeks and weeks and weeks until Milton Berle dies, and then that will start all over again. I have dared not even contemplate Frank Sinatra and Ronald Reagan. Keep it, we don't want it. Don't you get tired of celebrities who explain their charity work by saying they have to give something back? I don't feel that way. I didn't take nothing. You can search my house. You can search my house. I didn't take a thing. Everything I got, I worked for, and it was given to me freely. I also paid taxes on it, late. I paid late, but I paid. You celebrity people want to give something back. How about giving back half of the money? Or a couple of those houses? And you dickwads who collect cars, how about giving back 50 or 60 of them? Or maybe if you people really want to give something back, you can let go of a little of that arrogance. Deserving charities. For my part, I like to work quietly in the background, helping my preferred charities raise money. If you'd like to help too, here are some of the few you might consider. St. Anthony's Shelter for the Recently Alright, the Christian Haven for the Chronically Feisty, the Committee to Keep Something or Other from Taking Place, the Center for Research into the Heebie-Jeebies, Free Hats for Fat People, the Task Force for Better Pancakes, the Home for the Visually Unpleasant, the State Hospital for those who felt all right about a year ago, the Committee to Challenge the Height Requirements of Mailmen, the Beverly Hills Chamber of Poor Taste, the Alliance of People Who Don't Know What's Next, the Downtown Mission for the Permanently Disheveled, the Malibu Home for the Unimportant, the Nook for Needy Nuns, children of parents with bad teeth, the Rochester Home for Soreheads, the League of People Who Should Know Better, Orange de Ouvriers for Bangladesh, the Brotherhood of Real Creeps, the Committee to Remove Ba from Sis Boomba. People I can do without. A stranger on the train who wants to tell me about his bowel movements. Anyone who whistles cowboy songs during a funeral. Anyone who refers to Charles Manson as Chuck. A tall man with a Slavic accent wearing a bow tie of human flesh. Any couple who owns his and hers rectal thermometers. Girls whose wallet contains nude photos of Sam Donaldson or Yasser Arafat. A man with a tattoo that shows Joey Buttafuoco dancing the lambada with Leona Helmsley.
Any man who can ingest a quart of vegetable soup through his nose in one long suck. A priest with an eye patch who's selling pieces of the cross. A guy named Dog Meat whose body has over 6 square feet of scar tissue. Anyone who takes off of work on Ted Bundy's birthday. A man who, with gold in front of his teeth, wants to play stud poker on the floor of this room. Oh, I'm so sleepy. What the fuck did I even read? Oh, I gotta make it through. But I'm tired now. What we got? Let's do to 1:30. Honestly, we can do one more page and then we'll have 130 pages left. I think. Yeah. I don't feel like it though. Make it through. A man with gold front teeth who wants to play stud poker on the floor of the bus station's men's room. A crying woman with a harpoon gun entering a sports bar. Anyone who gets plastic surgery in an attempt to look intelligent. A man with one cloven hoof. I'm about to fall asleep reading this. Wants to give my daughter a hysterectomy. A 70-year-old man wearing gag underpants that say we visit the grassy knoll. Any man with a birthmark shaped like a hypodermic needle. Any woman who repeatedly gives me a high five during sex. A cross-eyed man in New York's hats. A cross-eyed man in a New Year's hat reciting Casey at the Bat in Latin. Last one. Anyone who receives email from Willard Scott. A man who plunges a bone-handled carving fork through his neck in order to get my attention. Anyone with 3 nostrils. A big lady wearing over 200 garments, including 9 separate hats. A man who tries to pierce his ear with an electric can opener. A retarded 12-year-old who carries more than 6 books of matches. Any man who gives himself a Harvey wall banger enema on the rocks. Any person bleeding from 3 orifices who wants me to co-sign on a loan. A homely, flat-chested woman wearing a Foxy Lady t-shirt. Spaced out. You know something I can really do without the space shuttle. Why don't these people go out and get real jobs? It's the same shit over and over. They get delayed, they blast off, they get into orbit, something breaks, they fix it. The president says hello, mission control wakes them up with a song no one has listened to in 20 years. A science experiment placed on board by third graders of Fogballs, Tennessee is a big success. And blah, blah, blah. It's time to end this shit. Besides, it's irresponsible. The last thing we should be doing is sending our grotesquely distorted DNA into outer space. And with that, we'll probably finish the rest tomorrow. I'm sleepy now. I will finish the rest tomorrow. Let me know what you think. I feel like this book could have came out today. Alright, but this is what I was reading. Brain Dropper. This by George Carlin. Peace.